Hey everybody, welcome to episode 4 of Breaking the Silence podcast with myself, Liam Watson, and Jason Grieg. And today we've got a bit of a special episode for you. We want to talk a little bit about self-belief and confidence. So I'll kick it off straight away, Jason, if you don't mind. I
Sure.
uh, I remember back in back in the younger days when I was 18 years old, and one of the things I'd never really had when I was younger was self-confidence, right? I was always talking to people and looking for appraisal on things and always trying to get people's opinions, right? And we'll get into that a little bit later on. But one of the key things that I found I'm 39 years now, 39. Sorry, I'm 38. I'm 39 at the end of this year. Time's fast. But the thing is, one of the things I've learned in my 30s, right, is that confidence has really amplified my success. So having confidence in my own decisions, having confidence in my investment decisions, and knowing that the decisions I'm making are backed by solid statistics, right? So everything that I do these days now is an accumulation of experience of probably 15 years, right, of making bad mistakes. So for me these days now, it's all about the confidence of making the right decisions and following through with it essentially. Um, Now, me and Jason were just having a chat, and I said to Jason, one of the things that he said to me that really stuck was that it's lonely at the top, right? And do you think he said that to me in would have been like 2020, 2019?
Yeah, especially in the online space, that's one thing that people don't see, right? Like they see, the holidays, they see the travel, the cars, the houses, and all that kind of stuff, without realizing that you're running your whole business behind a screen. Like you're not there in front of people. You're not interacting to people on a daily basis, face to face. You're literally talking to a computer and interacting that way. And while it may seem, easy, it's actually not as easy as it seems. Like you think, you jump on a Zoom, you have a couple of hundred people there listening to you. You don't actually interact with them on a personal level. It's very, you're talking to a crowd, you're talking to an audience, and I guess running a business that way, it is definitely lonely at the top, and I guess that's something that I never really understood. I mean, we came from a bit of a sales background where you're talking to how many customers every single day to then talking to a screen every single day. So for me, it was definitely a huge adjustment. Just realizing that, hey, when I turn off the screen, it is just me sitting here, whether it's 12 a.m., whether it's 2 a.m. in the morning, whether it's 10 o'clock at night, whatever it is, it's just me. And I'm talking to a screen for hours and hours or however long it is. And it definitely does feel lonely at the top. But I guess, the good thing is by being in this kind of business, and you do meet people, and eventually you have those face-to-face encounters, and obviously you do grow and you have business partners and things like that. But still, even like when we ran our prior trading academy, it was me and a screen, business partner and a screen, everyone on the screen, and we're all in the same room, but we're not actually talking to each other. Like it was yeah, definitely interesting to grow a business talking to a screen versus being so used to, interacting with customers on a daily basis face to face. So yeah, it's
But it's interesting. Like when you start getting that self-confidence though, and you start getting to the point where you do start believing in what you're doing. And let's say like from a discipline point of view, right? Because there's a few different stages. Self-confidence is a big one, but then there's the application, right, of like your of what you want to do. So like you're talking about like your face to face and you're doing the business. Thing is, right, you I remember back in the day, you'd found your feet with trading, and you didn't get lucky. It wasn't because you stumbled upon this crazy trading strategy. What it was is it was the hard work and dedication that went behind the scenes, right? And what people I think failed to see, and this is why I think it was for me, it got lonely around 2017, 2018, because it didn't really make sense until you'd said it to me. I was like, oh, that makes sense because you know, what was happening is people were going out to the pub. People were doing the same usual thing, barbecues every weekend, to the pub most nights, socializing. And then here's me, and I was like hitting the gym, right? I was watching a lot of those motivational things, hitting the gym a little bit. And I just started to think, well, you know, I'm not going to get anywhere in life unless I start applying myself. And once I started having confidence in what I was doing, I was applying it more. So I had less time, right? And so what happened is all my friends were like, well, you're a weirdo, you're a freak. I didn't get you're a freak, but I got treated like a bit of a weirdo, especially like when I was in the KPS. So I used to, you know, you work with a partner for an 8 hour shift, and I had to have nothing to talk to these people about, nothing, because no one was interested in the discipline aspect. A lot of them like would train and stuff, but then you go, well, what do you do after training? Like, what do you do with your spare time? Are you interested in trading? Interested in developing? Because I was developing at the time as well. Like, do you get into investments? Like, and I got like, and that's my take on like the, you know, like it's
Most people do just want to go to work and not talk about anything else after work. Like after work, they're done. Like they just want to have dinner, watch TV, and go to bed, and that's it, and wake up the next
yeah,
day. But like it's, and I guess it's, as you are exposed to more and more things around, investing and opportunity, and these opportunities present themselves, you then start to open up your ideas, open up your mind to potential ideas. But initially, most people are very negative towards anything because, in their mind, they feel like, oh, well, if you're talking to me about investments or business, you must be trying to rip me off. Like it's just Australian thinking, right?
yeah,
Like this, I noticed over the years, like when I started to venture out or started to think outside the box, I had a lot of really close friends that no longer started to talk to me because I was in the idea of, man, I just want to do something different. I just want to try something different, anything, whatever it is. And I, jump onto Google and research and try and find anything else other than just working a 9 to 5. And I guess that was just me trying to think outside the box, which, fortunately, it put me in front of trading by those random Google searches and, seeing possibility of making money from your phone or your laptop. Um, but yeah, it was definitely interesting, like, being exposed to opportunity, but then trying to expose people that are close to you to opportunity, because
yeah.
in their mind, like I said, they feel like maybe you're going to take advantage of them, or maybe you're going to put them in a scam or something like that. And, if you're a good person, you only have the best interests of other people, right? You only want to help
Yeah.
people. And I guess for me, like, a big learning curve, obviously network marketing, right? So, that's a whole other episode to talk about network marketing.
Next episode.
But getting into network marketing in my early days, even before trading, was like I found an opportunity that I can make money, but if I show you how to do the same thing, you can make money too. And automatically people would think that you're a scammer trying to scam someone. But in your mind or in my mind, I was like, I just want to help people. If I make money and you make money, we both win. Like what is wrong with sharing the idea with you, right?
I think there's two sides to network marketing as well, though, because some like if you're being open and honest about being a network marketer, that's fine. But then there's also like there's a level of it where
The
it's
deception of network marketing.
this yeah.
There's a
Any
whole
other
episode.
episode. But one of the things you just
Um,
hit on there, which is really cool, Jason, was oh take me back. It was carry on, it'll come back to me.
Yeah, well, again, just talking about confidence and being around opportunity is you don't really, in the very beginning of being exposed to opportunity, you're not really confident about anything, because if you're very new to it, naturally your brain is trying to keep you safe. It's like I don't want to
Yeah.
have any kind of part of it, because if I put my hard-earned money into something that you're doing and I lose it, all of a sudden the person that introduced it to me is a scammer, or that it's a scam, right? That's just our
Yeah.
natural way of thinking and our brain's way of protecting us. If it can protect you from losing money or getting hurt, it's going to say, hey, that's a scam. Don't do that. Be careful, trade carefully. So then our confidence, like tonight's topic, is pretty much out the window, right? We have zero confidence in the other person, especially if you're meeting them for the first time. Different with a friend, different with people that you're close to, you know, they may listen to you, even if they're not interested, they may listen to you. But yeah, I mean, confidence when it comes to new opportunities, it's not there. Being exposed to new ideas. When I got started in Bitcoin, I was like, man, why did I know about this years and years ago? Like when I
Yeah.
first seen it, it was $400, $500. And then got into it and then I bought some. I was like, man, it went to 750. I'm like, mum, dad, sister, everybody, just buy some. I don't know what you need to do, but just buy some. I'm new to this. I make some money. You guys, I'm not holding your money. You just buy some and keep it in your wallet. This is how I did it. This is how you guys should do it. Um, when I first got into it, then, you know, they weren't confident in the idea because here it is, you know, my sister was like, oh, yeah, I don't know. And then my mom was like, are you sure? And then, you know, so there was a lot of uncertainty, which led them to not getting actually invested into Bitcoin until, you know, around I think it was $1,000 to then 2,000.
Too late.
And dad was like, nah. Like, and then it eventually got to three. I think Dad bought his first at around 3,300. And I mean, it was good to see the progression, and you know, it's kind of like you're not confident in the person that you love and trust unless the opportunity then, you know, naturally increases and you make money from it. Now you're confident in what it is or what's happening, right? Or being able to see it for your own eyes. And I guess it's exposure, it's being a part of it, it's, you know, it's opportunity, and yeah, it's just a learning curve, really. Like it's
Yeah. And like one of the things that we always you know, with breaking the silence, like what's like what are we breaking the silence on confidence here? And I guess there's different topics, right? Like in terms of like your trading, because right now you're talking well, we're talking about, you know, back in the old, like what's that, 15 years ago, probably even more. It's like, why didn't we have the confidence to get into this investment, right? And it's like, man, like how many people do you think get exposed or see these traders doing well? I mean, like Touchwood, again, another episode. How many of those traders are actually doing well? I only know a few that I've seen evidence of, but um, you know, what's stopping people getting into it, right? Like it's always self-doubt because it's not, they
yeah.
don't see, you don't see a lot of stuff that's like, you know, I got pulled into this scheme and I tried to do trading for 5 years. I stuck to everything they said and I failed. It's like you never see that. You know, the people who are out there winning are not posting on social media every single day. They're social media warriors, right? The people out there winning are quietly winning, right?
Yeah,
Just
and,
don't
and
have
that,
time to post.
that's a fact because you know just seeing it, being around it over the last 8 years, and you know finding and watching people that feel the need to constantly express it online. Like, yes, cool. It's good to share your growth. It's good to show your, you know, where you've kind of come from and where you're going in regards to if it was because of trading. But the reality is, you know, people lose confidence in trading, and it goes back to giving up, really. Like it's, you know, the
Yeah,
only time you really lose, whether it be trading, whether it be anything else, is when you quit. And I
that's
guess
right. Yeah.
of teaching, you know, thousands of students is, you know, I had some students that, you know, came on board, did a course, in 8 weeks, they started making money, right? And I've had other students that came on, just couldn't grasp the concept, didn't understand why candles did certain things, didn't understand why liquidity works the way that it does, or the way that money moves, or the emotion around, you know, or the psychology around, you know, trading, as to why certain things
That's the
happen.
big one, right? The psychology side of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they get to a point of, I've been doing this for a year, I've been following what you said, but I still can't grasp the concept. And I was like, well, it's just time. Like you can't compare Joe over here that learned in 8 weeks compared to yourself that may take a little bit
Yeah.
longer. You know, you both only lose when you stop it altogether. You don't lose until, you know, you fully give up. So if you
Give
keep
up.
going,
Yep.
you keep learning, eventually, like you're going to know everything back to front. You're going to understand technicals all back to front, but it may just be the psychology. It may be your belief system. It may be that, you know, you've been doing it for so long and you're just learning the wrong thing. It might be that you're not tracking your data. You don't understand where you're going wrong. There's many things to think about that would help your self-confidence when it came to trading that may just need a few minor tweaks in order for you to feel confident as a trader to then slowly progress. It might be that, you're not making enough money. And I guess this was the biggest one for a lot of new traders when they come into the trading space and believe that they can do it is they then go through a process of going, okay, well, I'm going to spend, 4 weeks going through your course. And at the end of this course, if I make money, then it means that it works. And if I don't make money, it must mean that it doesn't work, right? Like that automatically in their mind, that's the way that they're thinking. When the reality is you've learned a concept of how to trade, you've learned technical analysis, you've learned, so many different things that there is to learn about trading. To now application comes from you doing it over and over and over again, getting it right,
Repetition.
wrong, understanding why you got it wrong, understanding why you ended too early or exited too early, or had fear and you moved a stop loss to break even because you're scared about what could happen. And through this whole journey of, becoming a new trader, it's kind of like, well, at what point do I see this worth doing? Well, in the early days, you might have a $500 account or $1,000 account, and you may spend hours and hours and hours every day making $3 or $4 or $5 or $10, and you're like, this is not worth it, right? Like people have this concept of if I spend $1,000 to buy a course, I need to make that $1,000 back straight away. Otherwise, it's not real. It's a scam. It's whatever it is. When the reality is $1,000, you think about your $40,000 that you spend on a degree, right? What's going to pay you back faster, right? You do 4 years of school, you then have a 40 grand debt, and then you spend another
And the
year
rest.
to pay that out, right? So it's 5 years before you even get ahead by a single dollar. Whereas when you spend $1,000 on a course and it doesn't work after 4 weeks, you quit and say it's a scam. Well, the reality is you just quit, right? You didn't give it any time. You didn't go through the processes. You didn't, go do the hard yards. You did it for 4 weeks and all of a sudden you've lost confidence because you weren't making money and now you quit. Well,
Just to add to that, Jason, as well, like you are right. The difference between a uni course is you get about 80% of it is and Mark, like, don't take my word completely for it, but is a lot of it I found useless. Whereas online courses, it's like straight to the point. It's direct. It's what you want to learn, and it's at least 10 times cheaper, right? So yeah.
I believe even to an extent, obviously, you go to university, you get a degree based on if you need it for, being a doctor or, a specialized degree. Cool, I get it, I understand. But to a certain degree, I believe that TAFE is actually better than university because when you go to TAFE, you're actually going to learn a specific task and complete a diploma, whatever it is. And you have here is the outline of everything that you need to do, which should take you 4 years, but we're going to compress it down to 6 months because the reality is to learn a new skill, to learn, whatever it may be at TAFE should only take that time if you do the work, right? When they say, oh, it's a 12-month course and you do it in your own time and everything like that, which really means if you want to spend an hour to 2 hours a week doing it, it's going to take you 12 months. Well, hang on. If we just compress the actual learning part of it, you should be able to learn that skill in probably 3 months, right? So yeah, when we
But
talk
man,
about
like where do you think the confidence, like if it, like for people who are listening right now, for you to be super confident in what you're doing, like what do you think you have to do? Like my 5-year-old boy at the moment, right? He has to do a presentation in front of his class, and he's like, I just don't want to. He's crying about it, and I said to him, I was like, why not? And he's like, well, I don't really understand it. And I was like, okay, so you're not confident about it because you don't understand it. I was like, okay, so what do you think you need to do? And he's like, understand it, and the light bulb went off, right? And it's like application of yourself, right? So like let's translate this into trading, for instance. If you aren't sure about Fibonacci or bullish divergence, RSI, any of the indicators, what works for you, right? Literally sit down and learn, because what's going to happen is you're going to create more and more confidence as you understand more and more. And that's really, in a nutshell, I guess the point that you're getting across there, right? Like if you can, if there's anything at all that you're wanting to get confident in, you sit and you do the hard yards,
Yeah.
and that's it.
For the longest time when I first started trading and I was too Asian to pay anyone, I literally locked myself in a room for 6 hours a day and stared at a screen. And I
Yeah.
would sit there and I would watch it, I would back test it, I would go back and forth. I'm like, why is this happening? Why does it seem to happen the same time over and over and over again? That's why that happens. That's why this means that. That's what this candle does. And why does this candle keep doing the same thing like this? Well, that's because of this, right? And then by doing that, that kind of, built my confidence. And don't get me wrong, when I first got started in trading, I lost 30 grand my first 2 weeks, like getting overconfident, thinking, nah, this is too easy. Like, how hard. So there is a level of overconfidence that comes with it that teaches you a lesson pretty quickly. But at that
Yeah.
point there, I could have easily quit, right? I could have easily given up and life would be very different. But I didn't because I stuck to it. And I just realized that if I could lose money that quickly, surely there's a way that I could make money like that by just, sticking to some rules and following and learning and continuously learning and going through that process. Um, and I
You
guess,
stepped across the line that 99.9% of traders don't.
yeah,
And you had the confidence to do it, right? You're confident in yourself, thinking instead of going, "This is not for me," because I bet you, right, most people at that line, they go, "I can't do this,"
yeah.
right? And you listen to if you listen to yourself when any task that you guys are doing right now and thinking about, and if you ever get to the point where you hear yourself saying, "I can't," right, or "I won't," like really listen to yourself,
All the
because
words, every
yeah,
word that you tell yourself is true. Like if you say you can't, you 100% you can't. If you say you can, you 100% can do it, right? Like
I'm going to, yeah,
it's a process that you go through. It's just a matter of time. It's not, it's very hard to put a specific time on when you're going to complete the task or when you're going to be the best at that, whether it be trading, whether it be anything else. There's no way to put a specific time on when that's going to happen because
yep.
it's just something that you need to keep working at. And, talking about self-confidence, I remember, growing up, and I guess, for a lot of people, public speaking was one of the most feared things that I would ever do or never ever wanted to do, to the point of I'm never going to speak in front of anyone ever, right? I just don't want to do it. Like I hated oral speeches growing up as a kid. I hated doing presentations. I hated all that kind of stuff for school, to the point of my self-confidence um, kicked in, and I realized this when we did our first Bali retreat. So we did a retreat over in Bali for our traders, and we flew like 50 students over there. And I'd never spoken in front of anyone ever. Like I'd never spoken in front of, like, talking face to face, talking screen and talking to 100 students is very different to getting up on stage and standing there in front of 50 people, and 50 people wasn't a lot at the time, but standing in front of 50 people and then explaining them for hours and teaching them for hours about trading. And the one thing that I realized is that while I hated the idea of public speaking, I'd been teaching this stuff for already, a couple of years, and I knew my content back to front. So that already gave me the confidence that I could then get up there, I could then speak and not have to worry because I already knew everything back to front, right? So that was kind of a shift for me when I realized that, yes, I hate public speaking, but I was confident enough that I knew my stuff back to front that I could then teach it. And I guess that, when you relate that to trading, it's like you understand trading right now, you may understand a concept right now, but you're just not confident enough to be at the level of where you need to be. So what does that really mean? Learn some more, sit in front of the computer some more, go through the trial and errors, take more risks, take less risks, put more money on the line, put less money on the line. It's kind of a trial and error process as you're growing as a trader, to build that confidence where you can wake up, you can look at a chart, you can then see if there's opportunity for the day. And if there's not, then you can happily walk away in confidence because you know not to jump into trade, you know not to revenge trade, you know not to just force anything, and there will still be an opportunity. And my current trading group that I have at the moment, you know, at the moment, I'm only doing one call a week, and I may be placing 1 to 2 trades a week with them. And I say to them, I was like, guys, like, I'm really shifting the way that you guys think towards trading because, some of you have been trading for a few years. Some of you guys are trading, but with no success. Some of you guys are so used to taking signals from people that, you're caught up in the whole signal that you need to be in a trade every single day of every single minute. And the difference is over the years of getting better as a trader, I realized that you don't need to be in a trade every single day. You don't need to be actively, you know, scanning the charts for hours and hours on end. The reality is yes, you should jump on the charts every morning if you're a day trader, spend 20, 30 minutes tops looking at the charts, do your analysis, and then come back and trade when you decide that you want to trade, or if there's even an opportunity that is there. And I'm framing them in a way that what is more important here? Is it more important that you're in and out of trades nonstop for 4 to 6 hours a day, and at the end of the month, the P&L is still showing you a 5% gain or a 5% loss or a 10% loss? Or is it better to, yes, actively look each day, spend a little bit of time and take 1 to 2 good quality trades each week to then still be in the same boat at the end of the month and go, well, I've done 5 to 10% at the end of the month. So it's kind of like trying to shift someone that's in a Ferrari and going, hey, you're driving 1,000 miles an hour because you feel that you need to constantly be in the market, when the reality is the Tesla is doing the exact same thing that it needs to. It's super fast as well, but it will get the job done by just being confident in your trading, right? It's just being patient, it's waiting. And I guess that just comes with time. And when you compare the hours spent in the market, because I had I'm doing a one-on-one at the moment with a student, and currently, well, last year he showed me his P&Ls. He'd made $90,000 for the year. He'd lost $88,000 for the year.
Poor fella.
He had been actively trading every day.
Yeah.
So his winning for the year is 90, his losses are 88. But that's not like, okay, I won 90 one time, I won 88. It's kind of like win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose over a 12-month period to be down 2,000 or whatever it was. I'd be down a couple of grand, I don't know the exact number, a couple of grand for the overall year. I was like, so you're doing, spending hours in front of the computer when the reality is you don't need to constantly be chasing, you just need to look for quality setups and have that confidence that you went through the process to then go, okay, well, I can patiently wait for the right time and I can enter without that fear, right? And again, money and fear and trading and confidence all tied into one. It's something that, people give up before they actually get to that point because they're fear of loss, fear of investing, fear of, outcomes. But, like we said earlier, like self-confidence comes from getting to the point of not quitting and eventually understanding what it is that you're working on. You want to be a better trader, spend the time to be a better trader. You want to be a better doctor, you want to be a better carpenter, you want to be a better businessman, whatever it is, you got to spend the hours because the reality is you only lose when you quit. You only lose when you give up, right? Because then there's no going back to it. You've given up. So
Jason, I'm relating to so much stuff you're saying there, especially with, you were saying about not necessarily being in the markets every day. So I had a call on Tuesday and I'm doing some personal development for one particular person. And one of the things that we were covering is obviously I won't say any names, but this particular person is pulling up the charts and saying like, I don't quite get the triangles. I don't quite get all these different patterns that are forming. So all we looked at is we for me, I said, well, look, I trade on a much longer time frame. Like very rarely do I look below the day, right? And it's so funny because I was related to so much that you were saying because I think I get this from you. I remember back in the day, it was always breakout trends. That was like your thing. And it took me a long time. I had a lot of failure with it. And then one day it just clicked. So when you talk about time in the markets, I think it really is the amount of time in the markets. But when we were looking at the charts, like this particular person was just trying to find any incentive to get into the market, like being manipulated by the market, and then there wasn't a lot of confidence behind the trades. So I literally we spent a few hours, and it was we looked at multiple different charts, and basically in the end it was you need to be confident that you have as many indicators as possible that are agreeing with what you're saying. Like, take all emotion out of this trade. And it was, we were looking at the total crypto market cap. We were looking at the Bitcoin dominance, Bitcoin, and we were basically, it was an altcoin that we're trading, but I was showing them how you can use all these different charts to get an extra 4 or 5 indicators, right? And that would then allow the person to be more confident in taking the trade. And then, yeah, sure enough, a trade was entered, and the next day that trade was ticked off, and it was a really good trade. So, yeah, I think the confidence in being able to do, in knowing your shit, right? Like knowing and being exposed to the market for a long period of time. Because what's going to happen is, right, if you just stick it out, whether you like it or not, you are going to get better at it.
Yeah.
You'll get much better if you journal and you sit down and you really dig down into your. That was the big catalyst for me, was journaling. Right, like
Mm.
I didn't understand my psychology until I journaled, and I read back. And I was like, did I feel like that then? Like, how? You know, and I use that on the tops and the bottoms. The long-term trades for me now, and I'm super confident. Like I love my trading strategy. I'm so relaxed in the market. It's crazy. People look at me like I'm some crazy dude, and I sit, and when I teach cycle trading, I show them like the numbers and the figures, and they're like, "Wow, like that's insane." But then I'm like, this is over 4 years. It's like, do you know the turmoil that people are in, like at the bottom and at the top, and going through the euphoric? I was like, I can't even explain to you the on your first cycle trade, right, how your mindset's going to be at that point. But I can speak with confidence because it's something I've done multiple times, and
Mhm.
I've journaled. That was the big thing, because I can look back, and so yeah, so just adding to what you were saying, like I completely agree. I think that the looking, like zooming out, looking at the longer time frames, and being confident in your trades and applying yourself, right? Like really, really applying yourself, and learning, mastering your trade.
uh, like what you're saying, trying to take the emotion out of it, like that's the biggest thing. And if you're rule-based trading, you'll be able to do that so much easier. The problem
Yeah.
is a lot of people don't follow a plan, they don't have a checklist, they don't have anything, any criteria as to why they're getting into the market, and are simply trying to force something because it looks like it's going up, or crypto whale 123 said that it was going to go up.
I know that guy.
Yeah, and that's the reason why you should enter into the market, right? So you're entering without confidence to
Hmm.
make a decision. Whereas rule-based trading, like the more rules you have and sticking to those rules, the easier it'll be for you to actually enter into trades and actually exit trades. Is because like when this happens and check, 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 check happens, cool, now I'm in the market. And when this gets to this point and check, 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 that happens, cool, now I'm exiting the market. Like the sooner you can learn about from an investment standpoint, day trading is still to a certain level is that way as well. Like it should always be, you should always be making decisions based on rules, not emotion, because emotions are what the market makers are trying to trigger, right? They're like, it's going up, quick, get in, get in. Well, actually, you're just filling their orders so they can sell against you, right? Like
Yeah,
that's the reality.
you're against trained athletes. That's how I like to explain it. There's
100%. Like
elite
they're
level
Michael
traders.
Jordan, and you are entering, the high school league. Like that is essentially how you
Yeah.
should prepare yourself when you enter into the financial.
It's a good comparison, right? Like if there's any guys who watch this who do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's like being a white belt and going to a purple belt competition and thinking you're going to win. That's like what it is, man. Like you don't understand the depth of like, and that's what you should be aiming to achieve. You should have the confidence and the self-belief that you can get to that level or beyond, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't, you need it. Like, you the power of the mind really is, and you taught me this years ago, man. Like you really reinforced it. At the very least, you absolutely reinforced the fact that there's your mind is everything, you know.
Like
So
anything that you do, trading, life, business, friends, relationships, anything like that, mindset is going to be the one that either makes you, breaks you, or keeps you, in a steady headset. Like I've been tested multiple times through relationships and friends and or so-called friends.
Don't get me started on relationships, bro.
Hey, yeah.
Don't get me started on relationships. Yeah.
And man, like you kind of go through that. It's a process. You work through that process, and that affects your psychology. That affects your confidence. That affects everything that you do. Um,
Can I add to that? Like what were you saying there? Like with the, um, so I think a really important thing is honesty and integrity, and when you know admitting that you have a problem, right? So let's in relation to trading, if you know that your trades are failing because as soon as you see green, you get excited, and it doesn't matter about the risk reward ratio and the fact that you've put 10% on the line, right? Or a 1% account or whatever it is that you're risking, as long as you see green. Because essentially, if obviously the most common scenario is I see green, I'm up 10%, or I can be down 10%. You're flipping a coin, you're gambling, you're not sticking to your trading plan, right? And a lot of times like your risk reward ratio is what gets you out, what gets you profitable in a 40% win rate. But that being said, right, like one of the things I do want to talk about is relationships, right? So sorry, Jason did start me. So I had to admit a long time ago, right? This is before I met my one true love, right? My missus is perfect. And the I had issues. So I had, self-confidence issues, and it wasn't until I self-explored inside, right, and looked inside of myself and went like, why do I have these issues? Like, what's the root cause of these issues? And address them. And then that was the ability to move on and have that self-belief and have a fulfilling long-term relationship that's now my life partner. So, uh, being able to admit that the problem, like I don't know about you, Jason, have you heard of people where they say like the market's out to get to me, the market moves against me, like it feels like I'm in a
the moment that I
simulation.
enter into the market, it goes against me. How did they know that I was going to enter right now? And
Everyone feels like that. You're gonna feel like that. Yeah.
yeah,
And that's the thing, right? So the truth is that you have just your 90% of the retail investor who is just not at that level yet. That's it, right? So in like for one of the things that I've said to people is if you want to see, especially with Bitcoin, like I love going over DCA, and I'm quite confident in that. And I'll just briefly cover this, but if you want to see, you're not going to get the same gains, but if you just want to see at least some green over a long period of time, DCA, right? Add that into your trading vocabulary, right? You don't have to just day trade. You can dollar cost average as well. But
yeah,
yeah, sorry, that was going off track there, mate. But yeah, like the confidence in, yeah, confidence is everything, right? And admitting that you might be the problem.
yeah, yeah. And when it comes to trading, it's really about having that confidence and building that confidence. And we have this theory of 97% of traders don't make money, or you'll hear that on social media, or usually you'll hear it from someone that tried to trade or tried to learn trading and gave up in 30 days, 60 days, 6 months, whatever it is, right? They go through that process of I tried that thing before and it doesn't work. Well, I can show
Yeah.
you many people that have made lots of money trading, and it does 100% work. And those 3% of people that you're talking about, that only 3% of people make money, are the people that didn't quit, right? But that 3% is actually a large amount of people when it comes to the actual numbers of people that did the actual work for, maybe a couple of years to compared to the guys that did it for 30 days, 60 days, or 6 months and decided to quit, right? Like that's
Mm,
the key difference. Like that 97% criteria of people, of traders that don't make money, is comes back down to confidence, because you didn't believe that you could do it, which is why you quit. And now you think that it's a scam, right? Now you think that it doesn't work, or now you think that the market is against you, or the market is taking your money. Yes, the market will take your money, but you need to learn how to manage that, right? It's going through that process to not be in constant fear, like that you're going to lose money. Because if you sign up for trading to learn how to trade, you have to be prepared to lose money. That is the reality of trading. And when people hear that, they're like, what do you mean? I'm here to make money. I was like, well, let me give you a shock to the system that you've entered a career or or an opportunity where you must be okay losing money. And if you're not okay losing money, then you might as well stop altogether right now, because that is the reality. And, which is why also this idea of how people market on the internet of going, 500% gain, 300% gain, 200% gain. And you're lured into that because you automatically think that, okay, you start calculating in your head. You go, if I had $1,000 and I made 500%, I could have $5,000. How hard can this be? Right? Like you start doing maths in your head. When the reality is that marketer that's trying to expose these high percentage gains to you are actually probably making a couple of dollars themselves, right? When the reality is,
But not the risk's not there. Yeah,
the
yeah.
risk isn't there. They're trading with such small amounts of money that, they wouldn't be confident to show you how much you're actually trading with. Because the reality is when you're a good trader and you're actually making good money, the reality is making 5%, 10%, 20% on trades is actually quite a lot, right?
It's
Just
insane. Yeah, yeah.
people don't understand that. They feel the need that the only way to market to the current, the our current generation is that it has to be fast, it has to be a lot, and it has to be easy, right? Well, the reality is it's not fast, it's
It's
not a
the
lot, and
opposite.
it's not easy. Like that
Yeah,
is just
the
the,
opposite. Yeah.
is the total opposite to what's actually being marketed out there. Um, but
Yeah. What were you saying? Like, I think it's like 10, 20, 30% of trade. Like, that's phenomenal when you look at that over a year, right? So I think, like, spoiler alert for episode one, but we talked a lot about this in episode one, didn't we? And I think there was times where there was, and I think it ties in quite well with confidence because these people are portraying, they're putting up
praying
these,
confident, yeah.
right? Yeah, and but it's fake confidence, right? Like, because I mean, as I think we covered this in episode one, but I remember I went back. It was like 2 months of these posts of this dude, and I sent him a message, right? And I was like, man, you started with like $100 trading account. You must have like $50 million or something now. And he just got real snacky, and we had a bit of a back and forward. But it was funny because, in the reality is, especially like, I mean, I'm in the markets now. I've been in the markets since 2017, and it's just getting more and more now. And like, to get those results, like a 500% trade, that's a 4-year trade for me. A
Mm.
500%, like it is like that's the reality. But 500 to 1,000%, right? Over 4 or 5 years, that is the best case scenario, right?
Which actually outperforms the S&P 500. Like,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like when people are
Yeah.
pulling out 500% in one trade and
Mm.
going, I'm a master trader. I was like, and that's, when I talk and I see people, and I would rather the confident trader, the conservative trader that comes and shows me, hey, Jace, I made 5% on this trade. How do you think I went? Compared to the trader that comes up to me and shows me 10 screenshots of 500% or 300%. I'm
Yeah.
like, I would rather work with the guy that was disciplined and stayed to a plan and made that 5 or 10% versus
Mm.
guy versus you who's coming up to me showing me screenshots because you know how to wind the screen to 50x or 100x to make it look like you made lots
On a dollar trade.
of
Nah.
trade.
That's overconfidence, mate. You know what though? Like I am super confident, and I have a lot of self-belief when it comes to like to paint a picture. Like, we talked about. So the trifecta right now is gold, S&P 500, and then Bitcoin, right? And essentially, I think the S&P 500's done 88% in the last 5 years. Gold's done 80. That was might have been a few weeks ago. No, it's been doing well recently. And then Bitcoin's up there as well. And it's essentially, if you're not making 12% on your capital, you're losing your energy and your capital. Right. So go and look at, if you're not sure about, might talk about inflation maybe in another episode, but essentially, right, if you've got $100 next year, that will decrease in value or spending value. You still have $100, but it's 12% less efficient, right? A
It
loaf of bread
actually,
is doubled.
yeah, it actually worries me with having the cash that I have in the account at the moment. We sold a property And we cleaned up pretty well with the current market. And I don't like having that money there. Like I've put a portion into another investment that pays a good return, but I don't like having the cash. Like I would rather have no cash.
Bro,
And
have I told you about my trading bot? No, I'm just kidding. Don't touch
but
trading
I
bots.
would rather have no cash there because I know that like understanding inflation and understanding how
Yeah.
what I have today next year is actually going to be a whole lot less.
Your
Like
default trade is minus 12%. It's brutal, isn't it? So,
like, it's an automatic loss by not doing anything with it. So, we're building opportunity at the moment with different things that we're investing in, which I would rather roll the dice doing because if I just left it there, then it's gonna go to waste. But or not
bank.
go to waste, but just not be worth the same amount, right? And it's so clear to see
Yeah.
even with the property market, like, houses in Townsville have doubled. Or like there's so many places here that I'm like, how did that house sell for 700,000 when you couldn't sell it for 300 like 2 years ago or a year
Yeah,
ago,
it's the
right? Like
catch up, right? It's the great catch up.
so it's
So
like
like,
now my dollar can only buy half that shitty house where someone else is paying top dollar for it. To only realize that they're probably buying the top of the market in Townsville and no one else is paying that money for it again. But to even move into Townsville now, 450,000 for a shitty old
yeah.
busted house that you couldn't sell for 220,000 or 40,000, not that long ago. But that's just the market. Like
But
that's
you've
almost,
you've seen these traders making 500% a trade though, right?
and then
Like
they
with
got
a
nothing, they
thousand
got nothing to
dollars,
worry
bro.
about. They got nothing to worry about. They're making 500.
2 weeks.
You're only losing
It's
100%.
comical.
Yeah.
It's comical, and that's the funny thing because I'm so confident and I have self belief in my trading. I know the numbers, like over a 4 year, like my I'm happy with a 500% in 4 years, right? Like you say, it outperforms Bitcoin, outperforms, and that's all I look at, right? It's like the long term. I've got a family to look after to set up, so I'm quite happy spending the next 10, 15, 20 years trading the way I do if that's gonna sort them out. Um, so the reality is, and breaking the silence on the confidence in what we're talking about there, Jason, is that I see them now and I just laugh, right? I just go like, I know the reality. Like I know it works for me, right? And I prefer the hands-off, stress-free approach as well. Like I'm really not in the markets on a daily basis. I might very, very solemnly, I'll pick up like what you were saying earlier, where if everything's a good setup, every couple of months, it's a really nice breakout. All the charts are indicating upwards or downwards, whatever it may be. Then I'll look at it and I'll do a risk assessment, and it might be something, and that really is the confidence. I don't have to look at what anybody else is saying. I've got the confidence knowing that I can read the charts. I mean, it's always good picking people like yourself's brain, saying, "Hey, mate, what's your thoughts on this?" And that's an extra indicator, right? Like, but in reality, I mean, it would be one of 10 different indicators, um,
Yeah.
that would, and he's the truth is, right? You could go, yep, everything's, and then it goes one bar up and it goes boom and just tanks, and you go, okay, I'm liquidated. Like that is the reality of trading, right? That is the reality of
Yeah,
trading.
well, that's the reality of not understanding risk management and just being taken out of the market, which happens to many traders, And in my day, yes, it happened to me as well. Like being taken out of the market, being overconfident, in direction, and the market doesn't care about how you feel. Like the reality is it doesn't care what you think the market's going to do. It will go against you, and it will happen time and time again. But you just got to pick up and keep going. It's essentially your rent to play in the arena. Like you just paid rent for the day to play in the arena. And
Yeah, yeah.
other days you collect rent. And that's the reality of how it works. And being an investor, being a cycle trader like yourself, like you don't need to be in the markets all the time, and that's great. There's ways to make money like that. There's ways like how I make money as a day trader.
100%.
I also do both, right? Like it's having the separation of going, you can invest and hold for long term, or you can day trade and decide that you want to play the markets because that's the reality. It's like you invest, you win or lose long term, or you invest and you win or lose short term. Like that's the only two differences, is that you're over a
Yeah.
long period of time, and that's my other portfolio, and this is another portfolio which is day to day, right? It's today, it's tomorrow, it's the next day. But
Don't
if
have
you
all your
go,
fingers in one pie kind of thing. You know,
yeah,
that's what you're saying. Yeah.
and I guess
Because
some traders would get that confused in the sense that they then use their, I want to buy Bitcoin and hold it for long term. It's like, well, then that's that portfolio or that's that folder. And this folder is what you day trade with. Like, and people tend to get them crossed, right? Like, I'm day trading here, I'm investing here, and now Bitcoin's going up, so I'm just going to move everything into one, and they start to get confused, right? Like you got to have two separate folders if you want to be a day trader, if you want to be an investor, right? And I believe
100%. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
you should definitely separate those, because it's, that's where your confidence gets mixed up, because long term you believe it's going up, but it's down now currently 30%. You then
Yeah.
go, I want to day trade, and you're worried about what the micro movements are that happen for the hour or the 2 hours or the 3 hours, right? You can't compare the same thing. One, you're long term for 6 to 12 months to 5 years, and one, you're long term, you're long for 1 hour to 2 hours. So it's having that separation that will definitely
Yeah.
help your confidence when it comes to trading.
Couple of like key takeaways as well for the podcast today. I mean, even like I'm quite confident. I mean, you're confident, Jason. I'm confident in my trading. And how in that being said, I still make mistakes, right? Like this cycle, I think I've cost myself about 200,000 below what my potential was, right? Uh, Probably because I was confident in uh, reading altcoins and it went against me. So obviously the market's changing a little bit this cycle. That's fine. I'm still doing very well, but the point, what I'm trying to say is that for those of you who eventually are in the markets for a long period of time and everything does click and you do start doing well with it, don't be disheartened by these things. Journal it, right? Move on, learn, gain confidence from it. And a quick message as well. Anybody who has traded and gone away, and if you're listening to this, this is an invitation to come back and trade, right? You're not starting again. You're going to pick off where you left off. I did that so many times, right? So many times throughout. I don't want to call it a career, but so many times through me being an entrepreneurial trader, right? That's probably a better way to put it. I gone away from the markets and come back, gone away, come back, and just kept learning, picking up skills along the way. And like I say, the biggest factor for my confidence and success was honestly was mindset and trading psychology, right? Everything else is second to that. And I'm sure you probably, what's your thoughts on that, Jason? Like with the mindset stuff, like,
Yeah, and I mean 100%, like, people start a journey, they test that journey for a period of time, and if it doesn't work in the fastest way possible, then they tend to give up. And like you said,
yeah,
like, if you're in that position where you've tried trading, you've bought at the high at 20,000 and you sold at the low at 3,500 for Bitcoin, for example, or you bought at
mm,
70,000 and then you got out at 25, or you bought at 110 and you're currently down now at where it's at 87,000. Just remember that historically, not saying we can predict the future, but historically, over the last 7, 8 years, actually even longer, going back to the start of Bitcoin, historically, you could have bought any time up until we recently peaked at $109,000 in that, 10, 12, 13-year period and made money. Like, that is just the reality.
yeah,
So don't feel bad if you bought at $100,000 and you're down what appears to be 13 grand at the moment, right?
wait it out.
Don't feel bad and feel like you need to sell and give up. And I guess that's the beautiful thing about Bitcoin and crypto, like, shares and blue chips and things like that, is that you don't actually lose money until you sell, right? It's like the same
Mm,
concept of you don't actually, you know, you don't actually lose altogether when it comes to trading until you give up, right? So you don't lose until you sell. You don't lose this skill until you actually give up. So if you feel like you've given up once upon a time, 100%, I would recommend coming back learning this skill. You're not starting from nothing. You just, it's like riding a bike. You don't ride a bike for years and years, but you did it once upon a time, that you come back to it, that you might struggle for the first little bit, but you pick it up pretty quickly, and then you start to make adjustments, right? You start to find out what it is that was missing. You find, the things that you didn't do, or you realize that you weren't doing, that then you realize that you need to start doing that. You weren't tracking your data, you weren't, you know, reviewing your trades, you weren't being patient enough, you didn't work on your psychology, whatever it is, all that stuff can be fixed, can be taught, can be learned, if you come back to learning how to trade. And yeah, I guess that's the biggest thing, is you don't actually lose until you quit. And you might have quit once before, but if you jump back in, you've still got time, you've got opportunity. While you're breathing, you have opportunity to make money in the trading space. So
Yeah, have some like pat yourself on the back, man. If you're listening to this podcast right now, you're already in the right place. You're already expanding. You're already trying to expand your knowledge. You're already in a position, like, instead of just sitting there listening to Slipknot or Korn and imagining yourself in a cool position, you're actually using your time constructively to listen and self-improve. So give yourself a pat on the back. You're already improving your confidence, your self-confidence, right? Go away, have a conversation with someone, and you talk about some things that you learned, and say, like the reason that you can talk about those things is because you literally chose to listen to whatever podcast it may be and educate yourself, right? So yeah, give yourself a pat on the back. And I'm pretty sure that, Jason, any key takeaways for tonight's episode?
just get back on the horse. Like that's all I can say. If once upon a time you lost the confidence in trading, whether it's investing, whether it's whatever it is that you're doing, whether it is even trading at all, just go back to it. If you enjoyed something about the thing that you were learning, go back and do it. Like, there is still time. If you're listening to this, there is still time. You can reset tomorrow. You can always, that's the best thing about waking up the next day, is you essentially are resetting the day and have the ability to go and start the day however you want, right? Yes, you may have to work. Yes, you may have a business. Yes, you may have all those kind of things. But at the end of the day, you know that you can wake up. If you can wake up, you wake up and hit the reset button and go, I actually want to give this a go again. You have the ability to, right? There's
Yeah.
nothing stopping you from doing the thing that you want to do. And if you enjoy it, just keep going. And yes, it's going to be hard. And no, you're not going to make fast money. And no, it's not going to be easy to make 500% like it appears to be, right? All that stuff takes time, but you can do it. You just got to believe in yourself. We
2 hours
believe.
a week. Yeah, 2 hours a week. An hour of chatting, an hour of studying. I don't understand Fibonacci. All right, well, for the next 10 weeks, I'm going to put an hour a week in. Then come back to me and tell me that you don't understand Fibonacci after you've done 10 hours. And then spend the next 10,000 hours mastering it.
Yeah.
And then come back and tell me you don't understand it.
And anything that you want to learn can be learned, can be taught by someone.
Yeah.
I mean, even this day and age, you don't even need YouTube. You got ChatGPT, man. It will teach you everything that you need to know, that pulls resources from absolutely anywhere on the internet to give you the information that you need, right then and there. So,
ChatGPT is a psycho, man. Like, I asked it the other day. I was like, "What's a really good compliment I can give my missus so she loves me more?" And I had like 100 different things. I used one, and she's like, "Thank you." It's like, "Yeah, no worries." uh,
yes,
yeah,
it's got some good and dangerous things. It's like, okay,
yeah.
my renewal vows, my temptation, my renewal for my wedding is coming up, and I'm like, nah, don't do it. I'm gonna get in trouble here. I'm gonna get caught out. It's gonna sound too good. It's not gonna sound like me. The temptation of ChatGPT to write my vows is, yeah.
If you do use that, you have to include the whole thing where it adds the bit at the top and the bit at the bottom where it says, so it's ChatGPT. Just go, oh, I didn't mean to add that. Everyone will be like, oh. All right, well, man, I'm happy to wrap that episode there if
Yeah,
you
no,
are.
that's cool. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in tonight, and we will see you on the next episode.